Perfect, you did a good job.
رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله قاسم الجبارين كبير الظالمين مبارك الحارمين، والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين، سيما أولهم أمير المؤمنين وآخرهم بقية الله في الأرضين، روحي وأرواح العالمين بتراب مقدمه الفداء، ورحمة الله على محبيهم ومواليهم وشيعتهم أجمعين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقتلتهم وغاصب حقوقهم ومنكري فضائلهم ملعونين. أما بعد, for the happiness of Hazrat Zahra and Marzia, for the enlightenment of the graves of Yom al-Hameen and the graves of Shahida Alama and Siddiqeen, for the safety of the followers of Ahlul Bayt around the world, and for the safety of the hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam Arwahum al-Fida, please recite aloud salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who is Rahman and the one who is Rahim. The one that has given us the opportunity to once again observe a fast in what would be considered to be not ideal conditions. And in reality, these days where it's excessive heat or there's a longer day, our self-righteous self or our tongue will want us to say that yes, this is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He tested us in such heat, and in this heat, we were able to fast and perform His ubudiyyah. But the heart and the mind may say something totally different. But in reality, it is one of the altaf of Allah, one of the lutf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He gives us, He tests us in these long days and in this heat, because the reward for fasting in it is more. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what the reward is. However, I don't want to go off onto a tangent. I want to try and finish what I wanted to speak about today. Yesterday, we began the second line of Dua Iftitah and moved on to the third, where we start to say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, Ya Allah, Allahumma adhinta li fi du'a'ik. My Lord, you have given me the opportunity to pray to you. Fasma' ya sami'u midhati. So now, my Lord, listen to what I have to say. You've given me the opportunity to recite. You've given me the opportunity to supplicate. So now, listen to me. And I said yesterday, there is this concept of khawf and raja, this concept of hope and fear, constantly going through the dua over and over, where a person has this hope in the same way, where we're hopeful now. Allahumma adhinta li fi du'a'ik. You've let me recite to you. Fasma' ya sami'u midhati. So now listen to what I have to say. But then the supplicant falls into this fear now, that I'm standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and I'm asking Him and I'm saying to Him that, Ya Allah, you've given me this opportunity, and in my arrogance I'm saying, Fasma' ya sami'u midhati. Not in arrogance, but in hope. But then I instantly fall back on something. I remember something. And what is that? فَكَمْ يَا إِلَهِي مِنْ كُرْبَةٍ قَدْ فَرَّجْتَهَا. وهموم قد كشفتها وعثرة قد أقلتها ورحمة قد نشرتها وحلقة بلاء قد فككتها. I remember all of a sudden that here I am standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all my arrogance, in all my pride, saying, Ya Allah, fasma' ya sami'u midhati. That now you've given me the opportunity, so now listen. But then I remember that actually, am I really worthy of asking for what I'm asking? Am I worthy of it? And then I think, do I even need to ask anything? Why? Because the next part of the dua, I'm saying that, my Lord, how many troubles have you already removed from me? I haven't even asked for it. You've removed so many troubles from me. How many sorrows have you dispelled from me? How many miseries in my life have you removed? You've made some sort of wasila that they've left from me. And at all times your mercy was encompassing of me. You cut away that tightening, you cut away, the translation is you cut away the tightening of the cords of misfortune. I was being surrounded and being wrapped in bala, in difficulties, but you cut through all of them. See how this whole idea works of khawf and raja, khawf and raja. That we're hopeful that he's going to listen, but then I think, am I even worthy of him listening to me? Am I even worthy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listening to what I have to say? Because he's done so much for me. He's already, dispelled all these difficulties for me. And so we fall into that thought again. And after this part, one other section, and then the supplicant just realizes that I'm not worthy. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. He starts to praise. He says, who am I to even ask for anything? So he realizes that I'm not worthy. And at times we're so ghafil, we're so inattentive, that throughout our life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps us with so many different things, but we don't realize it. Or if we realize it, we attribute it to ourselves. How many times in our lives have we been in a difficult situation? There's been no hope of relieving that situation, be that through illness or whatever. There's no hope. There's nothing that can be done. But then someone, some way, somehow, there's an avenue that comes. It's not coincidence, it's not pot luck. Rather, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's divine intervention. And it's these blessings that come. And the only time we actually understand what blessings are is when we have to face difficulty. We only understand what day is when we know what night is. We only know what black is when we've seen what white is. We only know what is evil when we've seen what is good. And this whole concept, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us for what? For our refinement. So that He can place us in this sieve and in this grinder and grind away all of those exterior differences, the imperfections on us, so that we're refined. It's like when you take a rough diamond and you cut it and you change it and you shape it and then you refine it into what is the most expensive thing on earth, possibly. Because you constantly refine it, you go in search of it, and then you bring it out, and then you refine it. And that's, if you want to think about it, that is our spiritual journey. That it's not spiritual progression. Because when we think of development or progression, we think of something in the distance that we have to reach. Whereas in reality, the answer is within ourselves the whole time. The divine light exists within the heart of man. We just have to find it. So like the miners would dig deep through rocks to uncover the raw form of a diamond, we have to dig through ourselves. We have to dig through all of this this whole mindset of culture. We have to dig through this pride. We have to dig through this jealousy. We have to dig through until we actually find that divine light. And that happens through muraqabah. When a person has constant attention to themselves, the veils upon himself, they begin to thin. And slowly the divine light begins to shine through. Now when the divine light shines through, we uncover that divine light, that source of divine light. Now we found it, now we have to refine it. See, the first level to get to it is through taqwa. Through taqwa we find where the divine light is, the source, that uncut diamond. And then we enter the realm of wara'. Wara' is abstinence. It is through wara' that we slowly chip away at the impurities on it so that we uncover the purest form of that divine light. In wara', and we'll speak about it maybe later on, there are 4 levels of wara'. The highest level being you start avoiding those places that are halal. Like in the highest levels of muraqabah, when a person begins to become more attentive to themselves, those things that were halal for them become haram. The things that were halal become haram. At one level it was halal for them to do it, but at this higher level of spirituality it is haram for them to do it. How? Take the examples of the prophets of Allah and the concept of tarki awla. Obviously the ismat of our imams and our anbiya is totally different to the ismat. They are at a different level. They don't even commit tarki awla. But the tarki awla of the anbiya, this is what you could refer to as something that they should not have done at their level of muraqabah, at their level of attention. Meaning, it was the lesser of the desired actions. It wasn't haram what they did. It was the lesser of the desired actions. So every prophet has a muraqabah, has a tarki awla, except for the Holy Prophet and the A'immah of Haq. This concept of tarki awla is that it's the lesser of the desired action. So let's take the example of Nabi Yaqub. Nabi Yaqub's tarki awla was that Nabi Yaqub would give food to everyone, the poor, all the time. And the story is that one day by the way, this is in the tafsir of Surah Yusuf in tafsir Majma' al-Bayan of Ayatollah Tabarsi. He brings this in riwayah. He says that when Hazrat Yaqub was preparing the food or something, a poor man came to his house. And he said that, I'm hungry, and Hazrat Yaqub said, yes, I'm coming to you, let me just finish what I'm doing, and I'll give it to you. So Hazrat Yaqub busies himself in what he's doing, and forgets, or it takes longer than it should have, and this poor man leaves the house of Hazrat Yaqub. And he says, oh Allah, bear witness that I've left the house of your Prophet hungry. He didn't commit haram. He said to him, look, just bear with me. He didn't deny him. He said, bear with me, I'm just doing this. But it was the lesser of the desired action. He was a Nabi of God. He should have known better. So he should have straight away given that food to that man that came to his door. But he said, look, just give me a few moments, I'm doing this. And this man left. He said, Allah, bear witness, I've left the house of your Prophet hungry. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in response to the tarki awla of Hazrat Yaqub, he does what? Hazrat Yusuf sees the dream. I saw the sun, the moon and the stars doing sajda to me. And he says to him, oh my son, don't tell your brothers about this. I fear that shaitan may change their minds. And then the next day, the sons of Hazrat Yaqub come and say, can we take Yusuf with us? And so Yusuf is taken with them, and the whole qissa, the whole story of Hazrat Yusuf happens from the Tarki Awla, because the most beloved thing to Hazrat Yaqub was Yusuf. So in order to teach him, they take away Hazrat Yusuf. So you say this is Tarki Awla, the lesser of the desired actions. Tarki Awla, Nabi Yusuf did Tarki Awla as well. Nabi Yaqub did, Nabi Yusuf did as well. When Nabi Yaqub comes and Hazrat Yusuf is still pretending to be, or he is, but he's keeping the facade of being the Pharaoh or being the king of Egypt. So Hazrat Yaqub comes, he comes off his horse, Hazrat Yusuf, now he wants to surprise his father, right? Because he hasn't seen his dad in a long time, he wants to surprise him, that it's me, Yusuf. I know that you've been waiting for me for so long. It's me. So he wants to keep up the act as long as he can. So he stays on his horse until Hazrat Yaqub comes towards him. Hazrat Jibreel descends, says, Yusuf, extend your hand. Hazrat Yusuf extends a hand. They say that a light came from the hand of Hazrat Yusuf. So the light came, Yusuf said, what is this? Says, this is the light of Nabuwat. It is being taken from you and given to your brother Binyamin. And Risalat will continue through his line. Says, why? Says, Yusuf, you should have known better. This was your father. You didn't come off the horse for him. Tarki Awla. So this concept of Tarki Awla. So when a person reaches a higher level of spirituality, a higher level of understanding, certain things, for them to do certain things, is not considered to be good. They should have known better. For example, I speak of patience, and I speak of, being a good person, and, the ignorant person comes and, they do something that you're patient with them. And so someone in ignorance comes and says, what is this rubbish you're saying off the minbar? Now I don't try and explain him, instead I punch him in the head. On one side it's fine. I hold this degree in Wing Chun Kung Fu, so I'm well within my rights to defend myself. I felt threatened. That's my philosophy in regards to Kung Fu. Yeah, what I've learned in my Kung Fu. You feel threatened, you attack first. Defend, and then you ask later. So that's my Kung Fu philosophy. But Islam, being someone who speaks about Islam, someone who the people look up to, and I speak about patience and being patient with the jahil. Now this person comes and says, what is this rubbish you're talking about? And I punch him straight away. Tarki Awla. He came to me in a threatening way. I defended myself, didn't do anything haram. But it was the lesser of the desired actions of a person at my status, or at my perceived station in the eyes of the people. So this concept of Tarki Awla, the closer we get to Allah, certain things, they become haram for us as they were, but they were halal previously. For example, for the students of religion, many of the teachers of akhlaq say that for everyone else, Salatul Layl is mustahab. But for the students of the religion, the ulama, the scholars, it is wajib for them to pray Salatul Layl. Because they're at a higher, they need to maintain a higher level. There's no point that they just speak and they don't pray Salatul Layl. They must maintain a higher level. And so, this whole concept, inshallah, in the later nights, inshallah, when we speak about wara, we'll speak about that there as well. So, we started from this point that how many different blessings come our way, we don't realize that they're from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we reject them. Or we try and attribute them to ourselves. And when difficulties come in our lives, that's when we understand what the blessings are. When I'm ill, I know what it means to have good health. When I'm old, I know what it means to be youthful. But when I'm youthful, I don't appreciate it. This whole idea of you understand it once it's gone, though we should be understanding it. So, we've all been in those situations But there's no hope, there's nothing. And then all of a sudden, some sort of solution comes out to the problem. Someone's ill, the doctors, we've heard this so many times, the doctors have said no, there's no hope for them. The mu'mineen do dua, the person is cured. Yeah? And at that point, we put it down to dumb luck sometimes, or sometimes if we have that a little bit, we say that, yes, it's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gave us the tawfiq, or Allah intervened. But most of the time, difficulties in our life, when they come, the ayah of the Quran is when the son of Adam calls out in the time of difficulty, we give him the solution. I'm paraphrasing. We give him the solution. Then he turns around and says, this was all from me. It was because as a result of my knowledge. I did this, and I did this, and I did this. Yeah? This is our takabbur. We need to understand this whole point in this part of the dua is that everything, all positive, all negatives are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All positive, all negative in our life is from Allah. What do I mean by that? All the positive things are clearly a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All the positive things, they've come. The negative things are also from Allah, but they're part of the makr of Allah, the plot of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The enemies of Allah plot something, Allah's plan is something else, and so they carry on along their way, but the aim is totally different, and the outcome becomes totally different. The Imams, the people who intended to kill the Imams, they form part of the will of Allah because they made the intention to kill the Imam. But what happened is Allah allowed it, but He knew through the killing of the Imam they would seal their fate and end up in hell where they belonged because they lived such a bad life previous to it. And through like for example Imam said, but through his killing it would awaken Islam. So it's the same thing. Allah allows the enemies to go along. I was telling Brother Zishan last night that one of the incidents that happened to me 2 years ago, I was in a very cultural Jamaat, and I said a few of the realities that people can't deny. And so then, alhamdulillah, they put me on the esteemed Muqassirs list. But not only did they put me on the esteemed Muqassirs list, but they sent out a text message calling for my boycott and calling for me to be banned from centres, lanat on my parents, lanat on me, lots. It came from all over the world. India, people were messing with Pakistan. I was like, okay. So anyway, so they did this whole campaign on every platform within social media to try and anywhere I was going during that period 2 years ago, they would bombard that committee with text messages. That why have you called him, and they would bombard the whole community and the surrounding community. This Jamaat has called the Muqassir Nabil Awan to their centre. Now, what happened is what they were intending to do was to defame me and stop me from speaking and get sort of this one over me. What actually happened was that there was one thing I'd never done, and that was ever promote my lectures, promote my videos, do anything like that. So what they did is set my name around the whole world, so people were now like, oh, who's this Nabil Awan? Oh, let's go check him. So they go onto YouTube and they see the video, and they're like, oh, he's not bad, you know. And then I would get messages, calls. You know, we've seen this text message about you, but you know, you don't seem that bad. Would you like to come and speak at our centre? So for 2 years, what has happened since that incident, since they sent out that text message, there has not been 1 week that I've stayed at home for a whole week. I've been somewhere reciting majlis around the world. And it's, you know, on the face of it, when I was in that situation, I was like, what is Allah doing to me? You know, this is from amongst the hidden lutf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they were fulfilling their plot. to try and defame and not have the truth of the teachings of Ahlul Bayt spoken about. But what happened instead is they promoted me even more. So this is very odd how the makr of Allah works. And sometimes we become subject to it. That I say that I don't want to go and do this, fulan action or that action. So one day, 2 days, I commit a sin. I commit any sort of sin. And then I don't get the chance to think about it, that I used to be able to pray Salatul Layl, but now I can't. Or I used to be able to recite dua, but I can't. And then I realized, let me think about, why is it? Oh, yeah, because that time I went to recite, someone called me and they wanted to talk to me. Or that time I was going to go to the masjid, something came up, the tire of the car messed up, I had to change it. By the time I reached the masjid, I'd missed the dua. Or then there was this time where my children fell ill. And then there was this time, and then I slowly realized, wait a second. There has been this constant amount of events that has been happening in my life that has stopped me from being able to recite Dua al-Qumayl, for example, or Salatul Layl, that I used to be able to recite before. This is the makr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The slow, gradual moving away, because we committed a sin by not acknowledging it, by not even realizing or feeling bad about it. So He took away that lutf from us. He took away that blessing from us. Everything that we have, so this is that concept of makr, all positive, all negative, is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And how is it that we try and remind ourselves of the blessings of Allah? A practical step of how I can keep my heart soft and keep my heart still in tune with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's thinking about events, these near-death events that may have happened to me, or calamities that may have happened to me, or calamities that have happened to other people and I've been saved from them. I've said, there's someone was in a car crash and I was supposed to be in that car, but I sat in the other car. And they suffered that car crash. May not necessarily have died, but they suffered in that car crash. And then I have to realize that, if I had been there, I could have died, this would have happened, and that makes me realize my own mortality. I realize that I'm not immortal anymore. I begin to understand. And the more I think about these calamities and how I have been saved by Allah over and over, then I realize these du'as and things that we do, these spiritual blessings that Allah gives us, the ability to pray du'a, the ability to pray salah, the ability to pray on time, the ability to pray salatul layl, all of these things, these are from the altaf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the lutf of Allah. Because being able to pray on time is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us His maximum thawab. Every salah has a prime time. For example, Salatul Maghrib, its prime time is the shortest, 10 minutes from the adhan. Like some ulama, Ayatollah Mar'ish al-Najafi, the adhan of Maghrib would happen and he would already be in ruku. The adhan wouldn't have finished. This is how important that time is. In fact, the narration says, Mal'oon is that individual, cursed is that individual who delays his Salatul Maghrib until the stars can be seen in the sky. And Mal'oon is that individual who delays his Salatul Fajr such that the stars can no longer be seen in the sky. Because there's so much barakah at that point to recite it on time. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He saves us from these difficulties. He saves us by doing these acts. Ayatollah Mujtahid Tahrani, he would say that, all these calamities that happen in our lives, if we look through it, a lot of the times it will be maybe I didn't pray my salah on time that day. Because I didn't pray on time, because I didn't put Allah at the forefront of my actions, He's put a bala on me, a calamity on me to test me, to try me. Or I didn't, give importance to Laylatul Qadr, for example, and set my destiny. So He's testing me, He's trying me in that way. And we need to constantly thank Allah for when we are on the path, when we can pray on time, when we can recite. You know, in Shahr Ramadan, we all pray on time, everyone tries to do it, especially Maghrib. You know, I hear about 50 alarms going off every time at Maghrib. You know, I doubt anyone else's alarm. Throughout the year, no one's alarm goes off from Maghrib time. Yeah, but Shahr Ramadan, we are mutadayyin. You know, we said it in the morning, this is the time of Maghrib. In case I'm asleep, I'll make sure I'm awake to eat. Not to pray, to eat. Yeah? And so you hear all of these alarms go off at Maghrib time, because all of a sudden we're now in tune. But now how is it that I can maintain it? This is not necessarily a bad thing. It's a lutf of Allah, that I'm more conscious of salat time. So how do I maintain it? How do I maintain this Salat al-Mustaqim? When we say Ihdina Salat al-Mustaqim, Alhamdulillah, we're on that Salat al-Mustaqim. How do we maintain it? We maintain it by thanking Him for it. لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. You thank me, I'll give you more. It says about me, His ni'mah. You thank me, I'll give you more, no problem. You like what you have in your life? Thank me, I'll make it even more. You like the house you're living in? You like the wage you're getting? Thank me for it, I'll give you more. You like the ability to wake up for Salatul Layl? Thank me, I'll give you more. You like the ability to be able to fast? Thank me, I'll make it easy for you to fast throughout the year. You like praying Salatul Layl? Thank me, I'll let you pray it. وَلَئِن كَفَرْتُمْ إِنِّي عَذَابِي لَشَدِيدٌ. But if you do kufr of my ni'mat, if you deny that I have given you this ni'mah, or you don't even acknowledge it's from me, you just think I'm the one that woke up for Salatul Layl, I set my alarm, I woke up, says you don't thank me for it, know that my punishment is severe. And the lutf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it comes even when we try and, you know, make the intention to say, you know, sometimes we're hell-bent on committing a sin of some sort. We're hell-bent on it, i.e. doing the riba of someone, or committing haram of the flesh, or speaking lies, or sending out a text message against someone. You know, different things that we have in our life. And we're hell-bent on doing it. We're hell-bent on beating someone, or becoming angry at someone. So we're very, very focused on it. But something happens that I can't do it. My car breaks down, for example. Or my, you know, phone's text messages stop sending. Or, you know, as I'm on the way to, you know, let my anger out on this person, someone stops me in the way and says, hey, you know, and I forget about it and I calm down. This is also from amongst the lutf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He intervenes every time. But do we thank Him for it? We're like, no, why didn't I get the opportunity to do what I was going to do, knowing full well that it's haram? But rather we should be thanking Him for it. Rather we should be turning and, you know, and then when we turn around, we don't just, you know, stay away from the sin. We make the intention to stay away from the sin. And then when we stay away from the sin, then we act like, yes, I was the big man here, I did it. And as if Allah is indebted to me that I did not sin. Because I start thinking like that in the back of my mind. Yes, I could have sinned, but I didn't go, you know, towards her or him, or, you know, I could have done that haram, but I didn't. I could have hit him, but I didn't. And so what happens is, in my arrogance, I don't think it's Allah intervening, but in reality, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we somehow think that God is indebted to us. So when we're doing our dua, and we need to be conscious of this fact, that everything we have is from Allah. You know, when we're reciting these lines of dua iftitah, that it's all from Allah. فَكَمْ يَا إِلَهِ مِنْ قُرْبَةٍ قَدْ فَرَّجْتَهَا. How many difficulties did you save me from? I didn't save myself. It wasn't because of my great driving that I avoided that crash. No, it was your blessing upon us. And when we ponder upon it and we think about it, that's what brings us closer to Allah. When we ponder upon the calamities in our life and realize that, see, this is a difficult place to be. When there is a calamity in our life and we say that it is easy because it's the will of God. Imam Hussein, holding the 6-month-old child in his hand, he says, my Lord, it is easy for me to bear knowing that you are watching. Knowing that you are watching. Imam al-Khomeini Qaddasa Sirra, when his son Mustafa was killed, he said one line. He said, Mardi Mustafa as al-Tafi khafiya ilahi bud. That the death of Mustafa was from amongst the hidden lutf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How do we understand it? His eldest son. Not just his eldest son, the brightest of his sons. Our Mustafa was the one that would debate with Imam Khomeini in Bahth al-Kharij. With his own father, no one else dared. His own son would debate with him. Our Mustafa was at that level that had he been alive today, Ayatollah Mujtahidi Tehrani says he would definitely have been the Wali of Faqih. That he was at that level of intellect. A father is proud of that sort of child. That he's excelling so much. You know, they have it that he constantly, interrupt Imam Khomeini. And Imam Khomeini, Tehran goes, Babat nahi dune, shurami duni. You don't know. Your father doesn't know, but you know. I'm sitting because he constantly interrupted his father. That was his intellect. In a nice way, in the Bahth al-Kharij, all the students sit and they debate issues of fiqh. The teacher says he debates, and then everyone says, well, maybe this and that, but no one dares speak in front of, any sort of alim in that sense. Some out of akhlaq, and some just generally because they know that they're in front of it. But many times it's out of akhlaq. We sit somewhere and we hear something that we don't agree with. And there's like sort of the best way. There's two ways that we stand up and say, no, that's wrong, you're wrong, you did that in front of everyone, and how we do it. Or then there's another way where you can delay it. There was a story of Ayatollah Ahmed Muqaddas Ardubili, and he went to see, I want to say Ayatollah Bahr al-Ulum. Yes, he went to see Ayatollah Bahr al-Ulum. So he'd come from Iran to visit in Najaf because the Shah of Iran had said, go and ask Ayatollah Bahr al-Ulum if he'd come and visit us. This is before Raza Shah Pahlavi. These are some of the semi-okay Shahs that were in Iran. And so Ayatollah Muqaddas Ardubili, he makes his way. And he sits in the Bahth al-Kharij of Ayatollah. And he was sort of very roughly dressed and everything, and he sat at the back. And no one really flinched that, this is Muqaddas Ardubili. And so he sat at the back. And Ayatollah Bahr al-Ulum, now if I'm getting the names wrong, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive me, but I'm pretty sure of these. So Ayatollah Bahr al-Ulum is speaking, and he starts like this, and Ayatollah Muqaddas Ardubili, he puts his hand up. He says, I would disagree with you on this point. Have you tried analyzing it from this side, this side, this side? And this for this reason. Students start looking around at who is this speaking in Ayatollah Bahr al-Ulum's lecture? So Ayatollah Bahr al-Ulum says, yes, inshallah, Hajj Muqaddas Ardubili, you can't be wrong. Inshallah, I'll look into it again. The class is ended for today. Yeah? Ended. So they arranged to meet, to go to, Muqaddas Ardubili said, I want to go to Wadi al-Salam. So, Ayatollah Bahr al-Ulum said, okay, inshallah, tomorrow we'll go. Now it's late. No problem. So the next morning they met and they went to Wadi al-Salam. As they were walking through Wadi al-Salam, Ayatollah Bahr al-Ulum turns to Muqaddas Ardubili. He says, Agha, if I was to, the ishtal that you raised yesterday, the problem that you raised with my fiqhi ruling, my logic that you raised yesterday, if I was to answer it in this way, And then if I was to answer it in this way, and then if I was to answer it in this way, and then if I was to answer it in this way, and then if I was to answer it, he gave him 4 or 5 different ways that he answered. Says, says, you knew that I was wrong in what I stood up to speak. You knew I was wrong and my logic was incorrect, and you had 5 reasons where you could have destroyed my argument, but you didn't. He says, you are our guest. I didn't want to, cause you any sort of discomfort while you were in the presence of students. This is akhlaq. This is akhlaq. That at that level, when you know someone's wrong, but in order to save their face amongst the people who hold them in high regard, you take it upon yourself, okay, I don't know. This is that akhlaq of Ahlul Bayt that is displayed by these ulama. So pondering over the balas, the difficulties in our lives, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us that opportunity. Pondering over the fear of the punishment, thinking of the fear of punishment. Sometimes we don't have it, but actually trying to create that fear of punishment in our hearts, it will make us more inclined towards dua, thinking about the fire of hell, thinking about the adab, thinking about being lonely. Viewing, as I said, our religious duties as a divine blessing, the ability to pray, the fact that Allah has given us such a long and hot day to fast in, viewing it as a divine blessing, not as an adab from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Viewing it as a divine blessing, or any opportunity to fast, knowing that it is uncovering, going back to my example at the start of the lecture, that diamond, that divine diamond that is hidden under the bedrock of our sins. We need to break through it to uncover that diamond, then refine it with our actions. So by realizing these religious duties, not getting up for Salat al-Fajr, oh man, Fajr again. I've got to go to work in an hour, I've got to complain. And just complaining about the fact that I have to, but rather viewing it as an ability, as a divine blessing, as an opportunity to pray towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And many of these spiritual rewards are gained through going through the spiritual difficulties, through ibadah, through the difficulties of worship. That's when a person ascends, and he attains that closeness to Allah. And it's a way to have our du'as accepted. Then understanding this. And then also that we realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the ability, so then that means, that He's going to listen to us. And after we've said this part of the dua, that how many different things have you removed from me, I say, فَإِنْ أَبْطَعَ عَنِّي أَطَبْتُ بِجَهْدِي عَلَيْهِ وَلَعَلَّ الَّذِي أَبْطَعَ عَنِّي هُوَ خَيْرٌ لِعِلْمِكَ بِعَاقِبَةِ الْأُمُورِ فَلَمْ أَرَ مَوْلًا كَرِيمًا أَصْبُرُ عَلَى عَبْدٍ لَعِنْ مِنْكَ عَلَيْهِ. Says, my Lord, says, you've given me the opportunity to pray, so I'm praying to you. But how many difficulties have you moved away from me? How many things? And after I've said this, I come to another realization. That I'm here in my arrogance, raising my hands to pray. He's already removed all these difficulties and all these setbacks from my life. But then what do? When I raise my hands to actually pray to Him, and I don't get an answer or a temporary setback, I begin to cry out in ignorance. Why is it you did this to me? Why did Allah do this to me? Inshallah, we'll analyze this point tomorrow. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and foremost gives me the tawfiq to act upon that which I have said. Secondly, He gives you the tawfiq to act upon that which you have heard. Oh Allah, forgive our sins, forgive the sins of our parents. Those of our parents that are alive, give them long lives. Those of our parents that have left this world, give them a place next to Muhammad in Jannah. Oh Allah, those who are ill, give them shifa. Keep safe the followers of Ahlul Bayt around the world. and hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time, and allow us to be amongst his true muttaqin, his true waiters, for the acceptance of these du'as and any other du'as. Please recite Alal Salat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
नारे सलावत अल्लाह